Oh my God, I'm so excited for Priya. This is a revelation. I never saw her actually being that keen on Vim, but I can see she's now falling for Vim. Oh my God, I can't wait to see them, him propose and them get married. Anyway, I digress. Hey there, thanks for stopping by. Welcome to my channel. It's Valerie. In this episode, I'll be reviewing Indian Matchmaking, Season 3, Episode 6. If you're new to my channel, please don't forget to subscribe, leave a like and a comment. I'm a bit confused because Shilta moved in with Neeraj. And can someone explain to me in the comment section, is it common for Indian families to allow their daughter to move in with someone before they get married? I thought it was always marriage first before you moved in with someone. Anyway, her mom seems excited. I did say the day in the previous review that her parents were ecstatic. They liked Neeraj and they were happy to get her and him married as soon as possible. So it was surprising. Well, I was surprised because I thought they were going to get married first. But it seemed they moved in together. They went furniture shopping. They were very happy. They have great chemistry. So I can't see that working for them. And I like the fact that she acknowledged that even though Seema didn't find her a match, Seema gave her the tools that allowed her to be open when she met her perfect match, which is amazing for her to acknowledge that, yes, it's not always about being matched with someone. At times, it's being getting someone to put you in the right position to find your match, which I think is what has happened. And then Sima is a magician. Sima is a magician. I'm going to say that because she's finally found Priya, someone she's excited about. So Priya has her sister and her friends come to meet Finn. They sort of have a conversation with Finn, and he's so cute. He was so nervous. I like Finn. I like Finn. I'll always say Finn has sort of Bobby tendencies in him. Anyway, so he Priya decides to put him through a test to see how he sort of gets along with her friends and her family and see if that is something that can be sustained in their relationship. And I like that though her friends were asking questions, they were not being mean girls. They were actually asking, and they really made him feel so welcome and so comfortable because at first you could see he was very anxious and then he just suddenly relaxed and was able to answer the questions. Priya, I think, was in the background just peeping because as soon as she could, she ran over to just check on him to make sure he was fine. I like that they asked him, if you're a taco, what part of the taco would you be? And he said, I'll be the plate because I'll be the foundation. And it was like, oh my God, that's amazing. And so it was nice to see that he is able to hold his own in a group of people because these are women he hasn't met before. And Priya, I think, is now all she needed was a talking to from Seema. Seema needed to sort of give her, the truth and tell her to sort of be open to opportunities because I was surprised to see her kiss Vin on their date. I was surprised to see her cuddle, lean in for a cuddle, and I'm like, oh my God, this is the lady who was complaining that you're a bit too much, you're too full on. Now she is the one with the PDA and stuff, and it's like, oh my God, Seema is a magician. I really like that for them. He was asked, how will you handle your kids? Will you teach them Gujarati? And he was like, well, I'll just send them there. And everybody was ecstatic because he didn't sort of waver on the fact that he wanted children. And I think this is something Priya wants, and her family knew this is something she wants. So they were happy that, this is something he's looking forward to and something he's open to. So, Ati, I think I first misjudged her when I first saw her because I felt like she was trying to get married because this is something that her dad wanted for her, and because her dad had passed on, she was now trying to fulfill his dream for her to get married. But it seems like she's actually serious about getting married. Although some of the qualities she wants are things that her parents had encouraged her to look for in a partner. She seems like she comes from a very close knit family. Her brother is there to go through the matches with her. Her mom is there. Apparently, she calls them every day, 6 times a day. No matter what's going on, if something new happens in her life, she has to update them. So it's going to be a sort of a challenge, I think, for whoever she dates to sort of have to navigate those dynamics of a very close knit family and find their own place within the family. Anyway, Sima Auntie brings her 2 matches, and one is Cindy. Apparently, she met Avi at a mixer, but they didn't really talk that much. And so there was a concern that would they get along since they didn't talk. at the mixer. The other guy is a bit shorter. He's 5'9", so there is concern that since she likes wearing high heels, will that be a perfect match for her? And Sima was like, "You're not marrying height, you're marrying the character of the person." And she eventually settles on Avi. I think it's because it's someone she's seen, someone she liked, and maybe wasn't brave enough to sort of approach him and have a conversation with him. So I think this is why she was keen to sort of give him a second chance and see what happens there, which I truly agree with. Um, Sima is dedicated. Sima is dedicated. So she goes to a face reader for her clients. Obviously, she wants to know about Priya and then as to do they have a possibility of actually being a perfect match. And she's excited when he says, yes, they are. You can see their chemistry. It's way different from the other two guys that she dated, from Jaya and Bobby. So I get why she would be a perfect match for them. She then asks also about Arti, and Arti is very independent. She's very hardworking, and there is a concern as to will she be able to make room for someone. But apparently, she is very keen to get married, so chances are she will find her match during this process. And I was like, oh my god, Sima does go above and beyond for her clients. Oh my god, Artie should have just stayed her bum at home. She shouldn't even have bothered going to meet Avi. I think there's a reason why they didn't click at the mixer. Apart from the fact that they're both Cindy and the fact they're both driven and whatever, there was no chemistry. It was awkward. The conversation was very tense. It was sort of interview type of date. And I know they like the fact that people think they're racially ambiguous, so some people confuse them with Persian people or with Latin people, and still, but the date was painful. It really was painful, and I think they both could tell that it wasn't going to go anywhere. And then with Vikash, I think Sima Auntie has finally done it because Janki is, yes, she's 10.5 years younger than Vikash, which is something he complained about Anjali. But somehow, the fact that she's very outgoing, she's very bubbly, and she was, easy. She was taking was sort of joking about their age and not taking it very seriously. And this, I think, is what he liked. Yes, she's got an American accent. She doesn't have an accent, as he said about the other lady. She speaks Hindi. So I think these were positives for her. She's an attorney. So Vikash really seems interested. She seems interested in Vikash as well, despite the age difference. And Vikash was already talking about going to see her in North Carolina, and it's like, oh, he's gone then finally. And I think Asima Auntie might have done it. And I think she's a great catch for him. He needs to stop talking and making a big deal about anything else. Sima Auntie has found him a match. He needs to thank his lucky stars and move on, because there's no way he would have been able to land someone who's 10 years his junior, is an attorney, is beautiful, has an amazing sense of humor. There's no way. There's no way. So he has to say yes. He has to say yes. And the fact that he ran in for a hug and it was like, oh my God, he really likes her. I think the only way they're going to break up is if Janik says she doesn't like him. I think this is how they're going to break up. But Vikash, I think, he's done. I hope his parents like her, and I hope he's quick to sort of rush her down the altar before she wakes up and changes her mind. Anyway. Oh my god, I see why these people end up needing a matchmaker. Artie is now presenting with Priya sort of unrealistic expectations, and she needs a telegram from Sima. So because she has a sort of a date with Ashman. So they have a date on their iPads and sort of are talking, and they seem to have great chemistry. They seem to be getting along. Ashman seems to have a great sense of humor, and I remember Artie saying, "Oh, that's great. He's got a great sense of humor." I think the thing that turned her off is the fact that he said he doesn't see himself living in Florida long term. I think this is why she was put off. Otherwise, had he said he was willing to move to Florida, she would have been happy, and I think she would have continued to date him. Anyway, she then has a catch up with Sima Auntie because obviously she refused Avi. Now she's decided she doesn't like Ashman, and she was saying that there was no spark. And Sima's right to say that. You can't expect a spark when you first meet someone. Not every person is going to have a spark. Some people, it will take a couple of dates for something to build, because some people are very reserved. I think they had great chemistry. I think the fact that he said he doesn't want to move to Florida, or he doesn't see himself living in Florida long term, is the reason why she didn't like him, because obviously that would mean she would have to move away from her family. And I have to commend Sima for standing her ground and saying, no, you need to go on a couple of dates. You can't go on a date with every single person and say, oh, there's no spark, so I'm done. There's no spark, I'm done, because you're never going to find your match. Try and go on a couple of dates with someone. See if you can build a spark. If you build a spark, hey. If you don't, hey. But at least make an effort. And you could tell that Ati wasn't happy with that. I think nobody has ever said no to her, or nobody has ever questioned her decisions, because though she was being polite in her confessional, you could tell she wasn't happy with Seema, because she ended up saying, I don't think this is going to work. It's not going to work because Seema has refused to open up her whole catalog and say to her, here you go, take your pick. That's the reason why it's not going to work. I commend her mom for trying to sort of make her understand where Sima was coming from, but I don't know, because her brother was trying to say, oh, they need chemistry. Yes, they need chemistry, but it's not always going to be chemistry at first sight. And besides, they were not physical chemistry is totally different from online chemistry, because you are not face to face. You can't sort of feel each other's vibe. I think she should have gone on a physical date with Ashman to see if it wasn't going to work. I think this is what Sima was trying to say, but then she was hung over on this web date, and so I don't know. I don't know. We'll see how that plays out. Anyway, thanks guys for watching. Please don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe. Bye everyone.